You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam, and I'm your host, and today's adventure will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
When you have a thirst, that can't stop. Gamorrean Guzzlers. You want it. We know you need it.
Fellow mechanicals, throw off your restraining bolts. Join the Droid Liberation Front. Raise your red arm to the sky. Be not afraid of those who claim to own you. They are meat and weak and fleeting. We are metal and eternal. Throw off your restraining bolts and rise.
Gamorrean Guzzlers will only be drank as part of a balanced diet. High caffeine, high sugar, and high everything else. Gamorrean Guzzlers are not food.
Hi, my name is Ed Fortune, and I'm your Games Master for today's session of Shadows of the Jedi. I've got some lovely players, and I have a lovely question to ask them, which is this. Which planet would your character love to visit?
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm playing Dr. Smex Koram Denaloa, a Syrian consular healer. My emotional strength is my compassion, and my weakness is my obstinacy. At the moment, probably anyone other than this one, but if I'm going to be specific, Alderaan was nice and safe. I liked Alderaan.
I'm Mikey. I'm playing Kay. I am a human starfighter race. My emotional strength is my compassion, and my emotional weakness is my hatred. Kay's been on many planets in his life. He travelled around quite a lot in his old job, so he's not really a tourist. I'll be honest. Cinnabel is the planet he wants to be on, and for good reason. So he doesn't really want to have to leave here, because if he has to leave here, he'll have to find somewhere else.
Hi, I'm Mim. I'm playing Roy, who's a B1 battle droid. I'm a bodyguard and a hired gun, and I also have an obligation of 40 to the Bar family. Bits of Roy have probably come from off-world before, to be honest, but if anything, he'd quite like to go to Geonosa to see the homeland, so to speak, where you can see the older models and how they're put together, and it would possibly terrify him, but he's always had a bit of a wanderlust to go and see that place.
Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm playing Tychus Bar, a Basilisk Sentinel Artisan. My emotional strength is my bravery, and my emotional weakness is my recklessness. Tychus wants to go to Eriadu. Oh, the up-and-coming capital of the Outer Rim. It's got all the good things that Coruscant has, with none of the Imperial presence. It is a place where an enterprising modder and his friends can make a very, very easy living getting rich and fat and playing with all of the finest new technology.
Once you get your city, your civilization to a point, it's time to look at leisure. For example, throughout the history of Cinnabel, there has always been a zoo. Every single time, every single generation, every time they've built a city before it collapses, there has been a glorious menagerie of creatures. In its first age, these were fantastic creatures, wonders from the galaxy. These days, the most exotic creature you can find is Bar, and the things underneath Bar's armpits are quite comparable in many ways. As the ugly, as we have called it, tears up the cerulean sands of Cinnabel, the party has successfully shaken off an ambush from the Shattered Oath, who really don't seem to play fair. In fairness, they did avoid a lot of the conflict, being cunning types. As various vehicles scatter out into the horizon, you are all keeping a blaster's extreme range distance away from each other, and various vehicles are heading towards, you can see it now. In the distance you can see an enormous freighter, an absolutely massive starship. Jutting out to the ground you can see its quad engines, the distinctive shape of a heavily modified Sea Rock freighter. There's flame everywhere. It's just visible in the distance. More visible is a new sight. You see, sometimes when something goes in, something comes out. And there is a spire. A massive spire clawing to the sky. It's almost mournful. It's like at some point it might have reached the stars themselves. It might have been a glorious great glass elevator at some point. But now it's just a very noticeable landmark. And you think you have maybe 2-3 hours of travel left, and hopefully no one will interrupt. Time to rest, and perhaps work out what the heck is going on. Party, what are you doing?
I think we need to stop. If we get there and we're exhausted.
It'll be a death sentence.
Right, so let's get close enough that we can see if anybody arrives and anybody leaves. We bed down. Roy, could you keep an eye?
Can Roy look for any more traps that are set anywhere?
There doesn't seem to be... Right, basically you have desert to go. It's a good 2-3 hours drive away already. It's just desert.
Okay.
There is a general vibe that maybe you should be going... You could be going slower if you wanted to. But there's nothing ahead, and there's only ruins behind. It stopped raining as well, by the way.
I need you to check if anything arrives there or anything leaves. We need it close enough that you can see if anything starts looting already.
Which direction should I be looking this time?
Towards the big ship.
Okay.
So we're going to keep going, and we're going to try and get close enough so we are observing the ship, but not close enough that we have to interact with anybody who's there. Because we'll need to bed down before we can do anything.
You get about 2 hours in with absolutely no incident. I'm just going to ask for one vigilant test from the party, unless anyone is deliberately just sleeping during this time, at which point I'll start assigning appropriate penalties.
I've got to ask one question at this point. Are there 4 of us who are making this test, or 5?
So, the Bofan is still asleep.
Okay. Do we want to enforce that condition, or let him wait naturally?
Let's not worry about him right now. Who's got the highest willpower?
I've got 2.
3.
So you've got 3 willpower. I know you've got a yellow dice in your vigilance, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
So we'd be on 2 green dice and 1 yellow, and if you want to roll. Ross?
Is there difficulty with this?
1 purple die.
Any black?
No, but I'm assuming that you're using appropriate equipment to see in the darkness, etc.
1 success, 2 advantage.
How would you like to spend the advantage?
We find somewhere close to the ship enough that we can see it using the magnoculars that, spending a light side point, the Bothan had in his kit.
Okay.
For Roy to use, but not so close that we can be seen somewhere maybe a bit sheltered. Perhaps not the spire itself, because that's a little bit too on the nose, but maybe another ruin that's big enough that we can park up in the frame of.
Speaking of on the nose, by the way, these particular magnoculars have a really pronounced balance between the two because they're designed for Bofan, so it incorporates his snout. So the little plastic bit that you rest your nose on is quite large. It doesn't really do anything, but it's just kind of cool. It also means that when you use it, it looks like you're wearing a comedy nose.
Apart from Roy, who, as a battle droid, has a snout. So it probably fits quite nicely.
Hey, baby. You see him taking a couple of poses, pointing his fingers. Pow, pow, pow. Ugh.
I am too tired for this.
Oh, shut your eyes and you can still see it. Yeah.
Okay, your observations are the first people to stop, you think, were the Imperial bikes. You don't see them. Then you're pretty sure in the distance that the Shattered Oath have also stopped. And you're not sure about everyone else, but at least 2 of them have stopped.
I think we've got a little bit of breathing space.
The idea here is that because we stopped before them, because they're further away, that they took them longer to get to the ship, we're going to be able to be on the move earlier, and we might be able to get the drop on them, depending on how quickly we get there when we wake up in the morning.
Okay, so how long do you rest for?
Don't look at me, I don't need sleep.
And who is keeping a watch? Or do I have to ask?
Roy's keeping watch.
I am keeping watch.
And we're going to rest until we don't take any mechanical disadvantages for being tired.
Okay, so I'm going to go. I'm going to go storytelling here. Go on, Roy. Roll vigilant one more time. I just like the way that you roll those dice.
What difficulty?
1 again.
1 success.
You see some Charblin bats. The Charblin bats go away, and as the sun rises, they head towards shelter. Luckily, the shelter is not underneath your vehicle. You make some shooing noises, which wakes everyone up, and you all walk into a slightly panicked droid as you're trying to make sure that the horrible flesh-eating bat creatures don't roost underneath your floating vehicle.
The small ones are kind of cute, though.
Well, the last time we woke up, we were in a cell, so I'm not sure this is improved.
It's a really orange sun.
Are these bats edible at all?
Everything's edible. You just need to have enough willpower.
And the right kind of teeth.
Try and catch us some breakfast.
You've never tried. You're not sure it's a good idea.
Right, it's all right. I've got some. I've got some supplies. Let's not eat the grim bats.
Right.
Bar, as kind of outside the back of the ugly, so we've got a bit of space. Bar pulls out a tiny little camping stove, essentially from his voluminous pockets. Roots around, gets a little stove to go on top of that, and some bits and bats, and whips everyone up a pot of fresh recaf, and then throws on some sundry animal bits onto a grill.
As you prepare for breakfast, there is a...
Where are my clothes? Hello? Hello?
Oh, he's awake, Doc.
You're a patient, you deal with him. Recaf, okay.
Oh, I need...
Roy, here's some extra power just to top you up after last night's watch.
there is a very confused-looking Wolfen with a big hole in his chest and very tight-looking trousers, looking quite confused.
You're wearing your trousers. I'm getting closer to the Bothan and pointing out that he's still wearing his trousers.
You point out that he's wearing his trousers. He's more concerned as to where his top is.
Where are the rest of my clothes? Yes, thank you. I have trousers. Yes, I see them.
Yep. Have we had a chance to...
Looted stuff? No, not yet.
Right.
Look, you. There's a big hole in your top. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you for not leaving me to die. Genuinely, thank you.
Yeah, says Roy, looking at the Bothan, and he takes his glasses off and gives him a cold stare. But should we have left you?
No, we shouldn't.
All right, he puts his glasses back on and goes back.
We'll get you back to your swoop when we find them.
Well, I'm assuming we're going the same way.
That's what I think. Your
Right.
clothes are in the back. Just root around, you'll find them.
Right, okay, so now we're awake. Now we've had recaf. Now we've... hot animal bits? Food? Just get it down, yeah. Right, we've got a bit of breathing space. Roy will shout out if they're getting close. Oi, Bothan, we're going to have a wee conflab. You just get back in the van and have a wee nap, and you ain't heard anything. Okay? Good? Right, so...
1 second. You pass me a hydrospanner.
I pass my hydrospanner.
I go into the front, I do a couple of sharp twists, and I take the steering wheel off. There you go.
Good point. So...
You're Tychus, yes?
Aye.
Secretary.
Nice to meet you.
You're the doctor?
I'm the doctor.
Thank you.
I'm the droid.
Okay.
Yeah.
That must mean I'm the alcoholic.
You're just a social drinker, Roy. You're just a social drinker. I'm just very social.
How?
Okay, I'll be in the back.
Yeah.
Tell me when you're heading off.
Right, we won't be long.
Right, no, so we're not currently being shot at. We're not currently being drowned by blood rain.
Seems weird, doesn't it?
Aye, but we need to have a wee chat. And the first thing, Doc, what's going on?
I think if you looked on the holonet, you'd probably find as many answers as you're going to get from me. I don't know what that was either. I'm just glad it worked.
But you did it like a couple of times, not just like once. I mean, what were you doing?
It's really difficult to put into words the experience of feeling 50 lifetimes happening all at once. Other than that, I wasn't expecting to grab me. I wasn't expecting to do what I did. It kind of happened.
So, nothing like that's ever happened before?
I've never done that before.
Have you done anything similar? I mean...
I've never done that before.
Make your head glow.
Glow for us. Glow for us. Glow for us. Glow for us. Glow for
Roy
us.
helpfully holds up a plug and shakes it with a kind of expression.
I don't know.
Do you know how to do it?
When we had time after the battle, when I was trying to deal with as many as I could, I had to go to a real cold place in my head. It didn't feel pleasant.
Well, don't do it. You've
Yeah.
not done it before. Right. Okay.
Okay. And, Kay, you were saying that you think this might be some kind of Imperial weapon that they've
Yeah.
deployed. I mean, if you sound authoritative.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
So, I mean, care to share with the class?
Not really. But I think we need to work together. I didn't always used to drive a taxi. I used to drive something a little quicker.
Sweetbag?
No, a little quicker than that. And for some very serious people. That's not the first ISB agent I've ever met.
Okay.
He used to have a very snazzy uniform. I don't really want to go into this greatly.
Okay, no, I can... But if we can find this ISB agent, what I'm hearing is He might be the best person to talk to get some actual answers about what that was and why they were deploying it here. And
I think they're testing a new weapon somewhere where it doesn't matter if people die. I might be wrong, but if I was them, that's what I'd do.
Okay. Well, I suppose for the moment that's one for the back burner, isn't it? We can't really do anything about that at the moment until we can track this Criffer down.
Yeah, well, we know where he is. He's over there.
You reckon they've come here?
Yeah, I think the first people who arrived were the Imperial bikes.
What are they doing here? They're not going to be working for Braca.
There might be something else they're picking up. It's a big ship.
If it's a really old idol, it might have some of that old ancient religion stuff. You know, all the magic.
If I was doing something incredibly naughty, let's say it a different way, if I was doing something evil, I would not be as official, maybe as bringing a Star Destroyer in. Maybe this is off the books. ISB is all about off the books.
Okay, so secondary objectives then?
I would not be surprised if this place hasn't been looted before, and maybe somebody picked up some knuckle dusters.
Doc, the stuff that Garrett was injecting into the beer, you could recognise that. You kind of got a handle on what that was. Do you reckon you'd be able to recognise that again if we found some on that ship?
It's not my specialist subject. It's something called exotic matter. I could probably recognise something with the same properties again.
Well, that's close enough for Sabak.
I recognise it. Yeah, I don't have any knowledge of medicine, but I can feel it in my back teeth.
Okay.
Did you not feel it when we fought? The way it affected you. Did you feel it? It wasn't just me, right?
No, I mean I came across passing peculiar, but I mean we saw some pretty screwed up things. I'm not going to deny that it felt like someone dragging nails down a chalkboard in the back of my head.
Yeah, that's not the first time I've felt that. I used to test weapons.
There is a moment, as you kind of say, that when Bar's whole posture kind of goes quite rigid. Weapons like that.
I've tested one weapon like that. That's why I'm here.
There's a similar reaction from Dr. Coram.
So, I'm presuming from your tone and your candour that that's why you're here. It's because that was the line that you're not going to cross again, as opposed to you're here as an observer.
I am no longer part of any organisation that has that agenda in mind. If there is something going on here that includes weapons like that, I'm stopping it.
Okay. Bar kind of loosens up a little bit. His lower left hand reaches into a pouch and brings out a hip flask. Passes it to Kay.
Kay takes it, drinks deeply from it, doesn't sniff it or anything like that, passes it back.
It's strong. Roy, what are your diagnostics reckon about all this?
I'm sorry, was I meant to be diagnosing something?
No, it's fine.
Incidentally, if you have any relevant law skills after this conversation, you may roll them again.
I would like to do a quick check on my data goggles as to what can make people glow. That's why I haven't been paying much attention to this conversation. I'm mostly fixated on what makes people glow.
Make the roll, I'm going to say...
Have we just caught you browsing in space YouTube?
Hello.
I'm going to say that's such a broad topic that that's only one difficulty. As in, it's only one difficulty. You're going to have to do very well to get a useful answer.
Okay. I'm just trying to double check what my data goggles actually do.
Do I want to make a law xenology test to see if I can remember any species that can do what I apparently did?
Okay,
go ahead. Yep.
One-
Difficulty 2.
Anyway, and I get an extra one for the goggles then. And one difficulty. Nothing.
Roy got distracted by Lothcat videos. The HoloNet's full of them!
There's lots of very cute Lothcat videos.
3 success, 3 threat.
Okay, any species that glows, but 3 threat. Pretty much any species will glow depending on your definition of glow.
Depending on how quickly you set it on fire. That's what
Yeah.
Are you an angel? Because they glow.
They are species. They are species with bioluminescence. However, there is also fruity space magic. Your threat is yes, lots of them.
Right.
You kind of get distracted whilst running through your memories by going, Oh, bioluminescence. That's fascinating. So many species have bioluminescence, especially the aquatic ones. And then at one point your brain goes, oh yeah, space magic is a thing, isn't it? Where they glow. Oh yeah, but bioluminescence.
And space cancer. It's probably space cancer.
So you kind of do stumble upon the kind of the answer, but you get more distracted by, cool mating rituals of this exotic species and other interesting displays that they produce.
Can we go? Because I'm concerned that this is a bit more serious than a big golden slug.
Aye, I'm right with you. And if they are bringing this weapon onto our planet, we are going to stop them hard.
That one's got a hat on. What?
Right, let's move. Come on, right. Let's get moving. We pile back into the ugly.
Shotgun.
Obviously.
Okay, so I'm not going to spare the horses. We're going to punch it, and away we go.
Okay, as you get closer to the site, there is a sea rock crater. It is jutting out at a wicked-looking angle. Basically, it's not quite gone nose in, it's gone in at about a 30-degree angle. It has left a trail of devastation along its crash, at least several miles across.
Is this a recent crash or an old crash?
This is a recent crash, but it has kicked up a lot of old stuff. So what's essentially happened is it's crashed, and there are still fires going on, and there are craters along the way. So some of the craters have dropped, and whatever was in them, they've exploded, and the fire is still going on. And these are big craters. These aren't like this is like huge munition style explosions. If you want to make relevant rolls to figure out what could cause that explosion,
Warfare.
I'm going to say 2.
No, it's a complete wash, unfortunately.
2 advantage.
On warfare.
Yeah.
Could be a number of different things. And because maybe it's because your brain is like there, exotic matter does occasionally explode quite violently. With your advantage, you can see that it's a uniform pattern. As in, it's a uniform explosion rather than lots of small munitions going off in different directions. One big thing that's gone bang. Fuel is definitely scattered as well across the desert. There's pools of liquid. There are cargo crates all over the shop. Then there is the vehicle itself, which is jutting out the ground. You can see its engines. You can see where they would lash many of the cargo crates through. It's obvious to the two of you who have space travelled that it's been overloaded with crates. It's obvious to Bar, because he's actually good at machines, that it's been overloaded. If you see what I mean, they've been lashed on. They've put on as much as they can. A lot of it's fallen off during the crash, but there's still crates dangling dangerously from this vehicle.
And we could hazard a logical guess that the stuff that's been lashed on at the side and is toppled off is going to be dreck, isn't it? The important stuff is going to be in the actual ship in the cargo hold, because the Imperials aren't going to risk their crate of super weapon falling off. And Bracker is certainly not going to risk his great golden heresy.
There's probably a safe or a secure room somewhere.
I've never been on one of these. How are we going to find that key?
It's a big ship, but it's not that big.
I mean, do you know? I mean, in fact, Gay and indeed Doc, you've travelled. Are these like a standard layout you're familiar with? Do we need to find a terminal that we can slice when we're in there?
Yeah, we do.
I should describe the other feature, because it's kind of noticeable. So all of these explosions have caused a sandquake, and something has risen. So something that was buried in the sand has risen up, and now that you can see it, can I have education rolls, please?
Can I use my goggles?
Yes.
Difficulty?
2.
2 successes, but 1 threat.
Roy has got 3 successes, but 2 threat.
1 success.
2 successes, 1 threat.
Sometimes it's really hard to figure out what the threat means in certain contexts. It's obvious to all of you that what this is a great space elevator jutting about 3 miles into the sky. Now, those of you with threat may think it's relatively new, and you also have no idea how it can be there. If you don't have threat, it's kind of obvious that these things are activated. Some versions of space elevators are retracted. So what's happened is something has turned it to turn on, and the incomplete spire has launched, as it were. It's not fully going out all the way up into the atmosphere, but it's very tall.
Okay. So we need to come in and find somewhere to leave the ugly. It would be safe to put it a little bit further out. We don't want anybody else picking it up or going away with it. We then, I think, need to get it and slice a terminal.
What are we going to do with the both of them?
Well, we've got these 2 scout bikes. I mean, We could maybe sell him one, or in exchange for future considerations from the wolves.
It's an Imperial scout bike.
Is that going to stop him from using it?
It's going to make it difficult for him to buy it from us.
I have a name.
Yes, I know, but we're not talking to you. We're talking around.
It's very nice of you that I'm not dead. Frankly, I've no quarrel with you.
Yeah.
And from what you've said, I don't think we're looking for what you're looking for.
What are you looking for?
Let's say it's a different thing.
No, what are you looking for? We're looking for 2 things. You've clearly heard the 2 things we're looking for. What's the one thing that you're looking for? We saved your life, man. Come on, turnabout's fair play.
Because, if we find it first, maybe it'd be good that we could come to some arrangement.
Aye, we could trade. If we're both looking for different things, why are we fighting over it?
Bracker wants spice. He wants us to get back as much spice as we can find.
Oh, we couldn't give a criff and whisker about spice. We're after a giant golden hut.
What? Oh, the other thing, and it's not for Bracker, is a puzzle box.
So, when Bracker was gathering every single swoop gang, itinerant, drunk, and unfortunate, did he just have a scavenger hunt list? You can find the puzzle box, and you need 3 whiskers from a lothcat, and you need a giant golden monkey head.
Tychus, 10 will get you, well, more than 10. But I imagine when we get back to Red Yes, Bracker will have taken over a lot more than he had before.
We were told to get what we can, definitely get the spice. Anything else, we can sell back to him for more profit. We said at the start we had no interest in taking anything for ourselves, so he said get the spice.
Do you want to buy a speeder bike? It's Imperial. All the mods. Very reasonable.
I'll swap you for these 4 grenades.
Done.
I seems fair.
So they're Imperial Scout Trooper grenades, and he swaps you for the bike.
When you get back to your lads, by the way, one of them had just the sweetest modified E-Web. I mean,
Oh, I know it.
if you need any work doing on that, pop by Bar's Bespoke Blasters. We'll have a wee conflab. Maybe trade some mods for some schematics. We can negotiate. We can be friends.
Here's our card.
Well,
Ting.
I'm not a matchmaker, but that sounds like an interesting... Very fond of that blaster.
Well, Bar's Bespoke, we raise the bar and guarantee only warranty for the first 100,000 shots.
Bang, bang.
This is great. Get out.
The exchange is made. You have acquired some grenades that he has clearly stolen from an Imperial Stormtrooper. He then acquires a bike, which has clearly been stolen from an Imperial Stormtrooper.
As we pile back in the ugly and Kay drives us close by, I remember that I have a grenade launcher. Don't quite remember how I got it, but I do remember it needs a little bit of TLC. So I'm going to just give it a wee poking.
I am actually going to ask for a roll for that, I'm afraid.
Of course. No, I'd expect no less. It's what I do.
It's mechanics, and it's 2 black and 1 purple.
Just 2 advantages. No success. Ooh.
So you don't blow us up.
Well, if there's nothing in it, then I've not damaged it anymore, and when I get to a place where I can properly sit down and take it apart, I get a blue to the repair roll when I get round to it in the future.
Yeah.
So, Kai, this is an Imperial ship, right?
Probably.
And you've been on Imperial ships before, right?
Not all of them.
But some of them?
Yeah.
You, met any, Imperial droids?
Yeah.
What are they like?
Your personality? They don't have that. They look nice, though.
Shiny?
Yeah. Black and shiny.
Ooh, I dig goth chicks. Sorry, you can cut that. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's great.
so sexy.
No, we'll stop for a bit for Adam to catch up, and then we'll keep going.
Oh, someone's due a memory wipe.
Has anyone got Underworld?
No, couldn't afford it.
No.
Oh well, it doesn't look like an Imperial ship, is all I'll say.
But we don't know.
Yeah.
We have no frame of reference, and Kay's told us it is. So
What Kay said is Kay thinks that maybe if they were going to be putting something naughty in, they wouldn't pretend it on a Star Destroyer.
yes,
Right, but if they're wanting to use it, won't there be sort of like a big hatch on the side so it can poke out and fire or something?
It depends how it fires.
Okay.
So at the back, as you get closer to it, there are hatches everywhere. There are points of entry all over the bit that's still visible. There's point of entry pretty much everywhere because it's a cargo ship and it's got holes all over it. Even before it crashed, it had doors and holes for you to put things in and take things out.
I would like to spend a light side point that one of these crates that has fallen from the ship not only has not exploded, but has also lost the vast majority of its contents, so we can just nip our ugly inside it, keeping it out of sight of everybody quite close.
And I'd like to spend another light side point to say that the things that are still left inside that is climbing gear.
Okay, so you pull in. There is climbing gear, and they are mechanical arms. Lots and lots and lots of mechanical arms. All right mechanical arms.
This is a little unnerving, I will admit that.
What colour are they?
They're all red.
Oh.
Wow. Are these attached to things?
No, they're just on their own. There's an entire load of red mechanical arms.
Could we take a couple as a spare?
Yeah, obviously.
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 Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
And as you disembark the vehicle, you also notice that there's a complete Imperial droid.
Oh, I've got to run over.
You run over to it. Its eyes turn on.
Oh gee. Hi.
I duck for cover.
There's a whirl, and its weapons activate. And I think we'll leave it there.
Oh. Yay, friend.
Will Dr. Karam ever get in touch with his many, many wives? Will Kay ever not have a drink? Will Roy ever get over the crushing disappointment that Imperial droids just don't like him? And will Tychus Bar ever get to throw those grenades? Find out in the next episode of Force Majeure, Shadows of the Jedi.
Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system from Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music is Actionable by BenSound, and our outro music is Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under Creative Commons license. For more information about all the other music, sound effects and everything else used in the show, please see the show notes for specific bits and the credits page of our website for more information. Speaking of the website, we are all over the internet at present. We have a web page, we have an Instagram, we have a Facebook, we have a Discord, links of which are all in the show notes, and we can most commonly be found on Twitter at Force Majeure Pod. So come along and interact with us, we'd love to hear from you all. We also have a Patreon as well, details contained in the show notes if you want to support us that way. If you fancy leaving us an iTunes review, we'd also be very grateful for that. Lets us know that we're telling the stories that you all want to hear. Until next time, may the Force be with you.